Hello there, my name is William, and I got back from a trip to Cuenca not too long ago, and I thought that the information that I had that I'm bringing back with me might be of some interest to people who are trying to go to South America. I could share a little bit of information. Now, I've only been there, I was only on the ground in South America for 7 days. My trip was basically a 5-day trip. It was supposed to be a month, but it got cut short. Long story. But I still know things now that I wish I had known before I went. So I cooked up a list of a couple questions, figuring that maybe somebody could get some use out of these. Now, before I go on, I want to say that I'm not trying to make any blanket statements about the people of South America or anything like that. I'm not trying to be insulting or or judge people or anything like that. I'm just saying what I saw, and I also recognize that I'm not the expert because I was only there for 5 days. But so take from this what you will. The first question is, how do I get around? Now this is all specifically about Cuenca. Getting around, you can walk anywhere that you need to walk. Be prepared to do a lot of walking anyway, but mainly you should know about the bus systems. Look up online something with blue buses. Yeah, there are blue buses, red buses, and green buses, and they all have numbers and they all have these set routes that they go back and forth to. So and they travel. They go very often. It's a really good system. So what you should do in advance is know where you're staying and know how to get from there to like the center of town and figure out the bus routes that work for you to get you to and from where it is that you have to go. Um, so the buses are a quarter on wherever they stop. You just hop on, pop a quarter in the machine, and you're ready to go. So definitely bring a lot of quarters because you're probably going to be taking the bus lines a lot. I would recommend bringing at least a roll of quarters. Or alternatively, I found out that there's a place that you can go where you buy like a charger, this little key fob thing that you pay for and you charge it up, and when you step on the buses, you kind of put it up to this thing and it deducts a quarter from your account, and so you don't have to carry change with you all the time. So that's something else you're gonna want to look into once you're on the ground. Aside from the buses and the routes, which you should definitely look up and have a copy of them with you at all times, just so you know like where you are, where the buses are going to be and such. Aside from that, you can take a taxi anywhere. Taxis run; they're all over the place. If you just stand on any random street corner, some taxi is probably going to drive by and you can flag them down and get wherever you want to go for I would say it's probably between $2 and $4. I got from the bus station because I took a bus from Guayaquil to Cuenca. I got from the bus station, the bus terminal, which is Terminal Terrestre, to the south of the city, and that was 350. So hopefully a little later I can show you a map of what that distance is like, and you can kind of make the call on what a cab ride should charge. And they initially wanted to get me for $5 on the cab ride. I just said no, and I went to somebody else, and I got it for 350. So that was good. Hat tip to Frank and Angie for that one because otherwise I would have just taken the first cab that I saw. So I'll let you know about that, but you can get a cab ride anywhere. And once you know pretty much what it's supposed to cost to get from A to B, you tell them what it's going to be when you flag down a cab. You say, I have to go here, I'll pay you this. And they'll probably take it. Okay, the next question is, what should I bring? I would recommend bringing, I made up a small list here. You should bring small bills. Lots of your purchases are going to be for smaller amounts of money. So bring small bills, bring change if you can. Bring walking shoes because you're going to be doing a lot of walking. Clothes for cold weather. It gets really cold at night. If you play, the place that I stayed at didn't have. It was it was it was kind of like a duplex sort of a thing. It was an apartment that was rented out of a really, I would say, a higher end house. But No heat. They didn't have heat there, and at night it gets cold. So definitely bring bring like a pair of sweatpants or a sweater or thermal socks or something for colder weather. Bring the largest backpack you can possibly fit, or if you go down with your luggage and you have one of those things on wheels that you can carry with you, take that with you when you go shopping, and that's what you'll probably shop for food in. Things I wish that I brought were just a couple of creature comforts I didn't really think about when I landed. Sharp knives, cutlery, I needed coffee filters, some condiments, storage containers for food because I like to keep a lot of fresh fruit around, detergent, string or twine because the place I stayed at also did not have a dryer, so we had to hang our clothes up, and it rains a lot, especially overnight. Well, maybe not a lot, but it was like I get it might rain decently maybe 1 out of every 4 or 5 days or so. And there's usually the threat of rain if it's not actually raining. So I wanted to dry my clothes inside. Never got around to it because I didn't have the twine. Matches, paper, and pen, soap, and just some extra rags to wipe things up with. So I wish I had brought those. Um, and that's about it for what I would bring. What's the weather like? The next question is what's the weather like? I just told you. It's I would say it's nice. In the mornings when I got up, I would get up at like 9 o'clock. It's always wet out, as though it had just rained. So in the mornings, it's kind of wet and cold too. I would say it's cold. Doesn't really start to warm up till the sun peaks over the mountains. But otherwise, just bring a pair of long pants, maybe light colored long pants, because if once the sun gets overhead, it could start to beat on you pretty hard. I don't think I saw one person wear shorts the entire time there. So if you really want to blend in, maybe shorts aren't the way to go. Also about blending in, uh, do not buy a Panama hat if you plan on blending in. I think it's like an unintentional touristy trap kind of gringo-y thing. I saw this thing in a little museum place I went to and said, you know what, I want one of those. I bet that would look sharp. People wear Panama hats here, right? Yeah, sure, no problem. Come to find out, buy the hat, throw it on, and then I just kind of look around. And I found that there's no better way to announce to the world, hey, I'm a white guy, than to wear a Panama hat, because I found out that pretty much the only people who were wearing these things are people on whom they look really good, like the most interesting men in the world types, or white guys. So if you buy, I mean, they are nice hats, but if you're going to buy one thinking that it's going to blend you in, not not going to work. And you really don't want to stand out. I don't like standing out either. I like being nice and anonymous. So don't go this route. Next question: are the people friendly to gringos? I would say yes. More they're just like people, just like anywhere else. But you should just know that you're going to stand out somewhat. I mean, you're going to look like a guy who obviously looks different from everybody else. And I guess some people might try to take advantage of you in that regard, but I found everybody was helpful and friendly, or they tried to help anyway. I didn't get a whole lot of help from people because there's a communication barrier, but yeah, people were smiling and friendly and all that. So just like that was kind of to be expected. Sort of a related question is, do I need to know Spanish? Technically, I would say no. You don't need to know Spanish, and but it's probably going to help if you do. At least you should know. I got a little list of numbers. You should know how to say numbers because they're going to yell at you prices of things when you ask how much. So you got to know how to listen. Your listening skills, if you understand the language, are what's going to be important. Right? You need to know how to listen for specifically numbers and directions. Numbers, greetings, directions, interrogative words, how much, when, where, maybe why, demonstrative pronouns, here, there, at the left, things like that, and just a couple of basic verbs. But what's really important is knowing how to listen. I I don't consider myself somebody who speaks Spanish. I can read Spanish, but nobody cares if you can read Spanish. Okay, reading Spanish is easy. Speaking it is a little bit harder, and I found that listening is very, very tough. Imagine this. Imagine being a native Spanish speaker for whom English is a second language. And so you can imagine how tough it is to understand what people in the United States are saying. Like that has to be tough. But imagine taking that understanding of English and going to say Australia and only being spoken to by people who are Australian with that really thick accent. Right? That's what it's like. That's what has to be overcome. So you really, if you're going to make any use of knowing the language, you got to know how to listen. So, and I tried to get people to help me out. I tried to appear to be very patient. Lentamente, por favor, palabra por palabra. Try to get them to speak, word for word, so I can understand. And sometimes I would do that, and I swear they would actually speed up. And so it's really kind of tough when you get into one of those situations and you just wind up saying like, all right, see ya, and just like walking away because there's nothing else that you can do. So you don't need to know Spanish. You can find people who speak English in sort of the higher end places like airports, and if you went to a nice furnished store, you might run into somebody who knows a little bit of English, maybe a few words and phrases. But yeah, don't expect anybody to accommodate you with the language barrier. You're pretty much on your own there. Next question, what is traffic like? I hear a lot that traffic is crazy. Oh my God, people in South America, look at how they drive. Look at it, they're all over the road, they're everywhere. Yes, that's true. That it's true that they do drive fast, but I have to say, I think that they are the best drivers in the whole world. To me, they don't drive like they're crazy people. All right, if you look at it from the perspective of a U.S. citizen, it looks crazy and chaotic and not organized at all. But once you're in it, you realize the way that it works. I think they don't drive to me like crazy people. To me, they drive like people who want to get to where they're trying to go. That's how I would love to drive. To me, it makes how it is that we have in the U.S. With like cops waiting around corners to watch and see if people are speeding. That to me seems like extremely ridiculous and petty. And being in South America really highlighted that, right? Because I mean, I didn't see any accidents. There are a lot of people beeping horns, but it has a purpose because they're letting you know, hey, I'm going to be cutting in, hey, I'm coming out, things like that. So it's very active, very lively, and I would call it robust, but not crazy. I think that they're awesome drivers, and I wish we could drive here that same way. Is it safe? I would say yes, it's pretty safe, depending on where you go. You can obviously see what looks like a bad neighborhood. Um, I didn't feel threatened anywhere at all until I got to one of the markets, sort of kind of at dusk. Trust me, when the sun starts going down, and as I understand, it's pretty consistent at like 6:20 or something. The sun sets like clockwork because you're right on the equator. Um, when the sun starts going down, you're probably going to want to come indoors. Because I've been in the middle of El Centro when, like at dusk, when night starts falling, I start seeing the stars, and the sidewalks are rolling up, and it's looking like a really dangerous place. I went to one of the markets in the south part of the city, and I'm just, running through there. They're kind of close to closing up, but you'll see a couple of groups of people, man, like 4, 5, 6 deep, who were just kind of watching you, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So, but aside from that, just walking around today, I didn't feel threatened at all. It was fine. Just say hi to people. You should greet. I greeted everybody I made eye contact with. And I mean, just use a little bit of common sense. They say that pickpocketing is bad. I really wouldn't know. I think I would consider myself to be a pretty tough guy to sneak up on and pickpocket because I'm one of those guys who's just always aware of his surroundings. Anyway, every few steps I'm doing 360s. I'm doing like, you know, I know who is near me and like how far away from me they are. So you got to be pretty good, I think, to sneak up on me, or much less get into one of my pockets and take something out. But again, just use a little bit of common sense and be aware of your surroundings and all that stuff. Last thing I got here is odds and ends. Weird things about the place on like every block. Literally every block. There are pharmacies, hardware stores, all kinds of food stores. Every now and then you'll see a veterinary place, pizza, food of all kinds. They're very resourceful people. It's like if you can start a business out of it, it's like every business is kind of like a business here run out of a garage. If you could run it out of a garage in the U.S., then it's up and running in Ecuador. All right, so there's always somebody selling something. Usually it's food. But the little stores and tiendas, they're everywhere. And it's all kinds of stuff. You could find like sweets, breads and things like that, like bakeries, little closet type bakeries, little places for like stationery, back to school stuff, all kinds of stuff. And that's even on the outskirts of the city. When you go to the like the downtown area, it's like everything is available. You can find anything that you want to get, you can find someplace as long as you look for it hard enough. I wanted to find a guitar, and I was kind of having some trouble knowing where to start. But you go to El Centro, it's there. You will find places that sell music, and you'll even find people just on the like side of the road just having shops. Oh, look, this is my thing, and I just sell a bunch of guitars. So anything that you want, you can find. There are dogs everywhere. Dogs are just everywhere. Dogs are like, alright, dogs down there are like, from where I live anyway, are like squirrels are here. Like, to me, squirrels are everywhere. You could just be riding down the road and you'll see a squirrel on somebody's lawn just walking around. Down there, it's dogs. So dogs are everywhere. That's something that's unusual. They're usually looking pretty ragged. They're real, you know, scavenger type things. No mosquitoes. No squirrels. First of all, I didn't see one squirrel the entire trip, and I didn't even hear of a mosquito. And that's kind of different from my experience, because from where I live, mosquito problems are like something from out of the Bible. If I walk to my car and I got to fumble around with my keys before I get in, I'm going to get bit up by mosquitoes. Not so down there. That wasn't a problem. I was free to just go outside and exist without having to spray myself down with any kind of a chemical or wear long sleeves. I'd be doing this every 5 seconds. That was quite a relief. But alright, I really can't think of anything else off the top of my head. That's all I have. Thank you for watching this. I know it's 20 minutes of me just pretty much rambling on about nothing, but if you got something out of it, you know, you're welcome. Awesome, great. And then I did what I was supposed to do. If you have any questions, if you send me a message, I will guarantee if I can answer it, I will answer it. And if I get enough questions, I don't think I will, because I'm just one guy and this is my only video, but if I get enough stuff, I'll make another video talking about what it is that you can ask me, that, you know, answering your questions, because I want to help people, and I want my experience to help other people out do what it is that they got to do. So if you have any specific questions on how to do anything, how to get there, how to get out, what you need to know about town, let me know, drop me a line, and I will totally get back to you. And I'm happy to do it. And okay, so that's it, my first video on this channel. Thanks for watching.